Welcome back to another episode of this course. And as you probably would have guessed, we will again start out with the economic calendar and take a look where the high impact news of the week for the euro and the dollar index are placed. So, first of all, we can see that we have the NFP week this week, right? We have NFP on Friday. Therefore, we know, okay, we will focus on the first 3 days of the week, and we will then skip Thursday, and on Friday we will only consider taking a trade post NFP announcement, right? If we take a look at the news from Monday to Wednesday, we can see that we have red folder news at 10 a.m. New York time on USD, the PMI news. On Tuesday we have no news at all, and on Wednesday we have FOMC meeting minutes at 2 p.m. New York time. So therefore we probably will see, or we can expect a slower week, and expect the majority of the weekly expansion range to occur on Friday. So last week we got the sell-off into the previous week's low, which is also aligning with that weekly old fair value gap, right? The weekly inversion fair value gap once we closed above here, and then heading into the weekly close, we got the rally in New York session back into the range, right? So we got a bullish reaction from our higher time frame. Bullish POI, right? If we are bullish, we don't want to see prices to close below this level here. And what we can see now is that we have a mitigation block right here. So this up close candle, once we closed above, this bearish order block is now a bullish mitigation block, right? So what else can we see? We have a fair value gap right here. That is right above this mitigation block, and we also have an order block right here. If we take all of those candles here, right, all those down close candles on the H1, they build one order block together, right? So we have order block here, and now we have the Monday or the new weekly open coming up, and if we are bullish, we don't want to see price to trade all the way back down here. We ideally take out this low here, so on the M15 it's the swing low, right, this one, and then we trade into this fair value gap. We might tag that mitigation block, and then we ideally get the push to the upside and aiming for Friday highs, and eventually all of those highs here, right? And then obviously we still have that reclaimed daily bearish order block right here, right? If we talked about that earlier in the previous episodes, we've got above, failed to hold above, and then now it's a reclaimed bearish order block here. If we get above again, we want to use it as an inversion level again, and then see higher prices from there, right? But yeah, we're pretty much range bound here, so that's one of the low probability conditions if we are trading in a range. So that's our range, right? Range highs, range lows. So take the fib, then that's pretty much the range equilibrium, right? So we don't want to engage here. We either want to look for longs at the range lows, or we want to look for shorts at the range highs until we get a breakout of the range, right? If we either flip this order block to a mitigation block, then we can look for higher prices from here, right? And if we fail to break to the upside and get back below this level, below the weekly inversion level, maybe a daily close below, we can then use it and look for shorts, aiming for all of the liquidity resting below the lows here, right? Ideally we get the bullish scenario, as we having a weekly bullish bias and a weekly bullish structure, right? We have the buy side here in form of the equal highs, and obviously also the weekly high here. So yeah, as I said, this week will probably a slow week. Again, we are still in a consolidation or a retracement profile until proven otherwise. So therefore, we don't really want to force any trades this week. So there we have Asia, and now we have the London Open. We are trading into the H1 fair value gap as well as the mitigation block here. And now we want to see if we can get a bullish shift in order flow here, right? For now it looks like we are going down, and you can see now we've also tagged that bullish H1 order block here as well. So if you go down to the M5, so you can see we get the retracement, we got some bullishness here from this level, and we have the first signs of a potential change in order flow here, or shift in order flow on the M5. We have this fair value gap here which we closed above, and now I want to see if we can go higher from here or if we will go lower again, right? We have a 15 fair value gap here, got another one here. We also have this short-term high here, and on the H1 we also have this bearish fair value gap right here, and I at least want to see now a close above this H1 fair value gap to show that the order flow is willing to go higher from here, right? Now we're trading in London lunch, and there we have now the New York Open, and as you can see we are now trading almost above the H1 fair value gap. But again, if we think about our potential narratives for session profiles, right, we always want to combine a higher time frame level with a price action narrative. So price action narrative is always either a market maker model or an AMD model, right? And then we combine that and try to align it with a session profile or a daily profile, right? If you are trying to trade intra-session, we use session profiles, or we can also use session profiles and align them with a daily profile. So for example, a classic buy or sell day combined with the London session reversal profile, for example. And in this case, we could use the New York reversal profile, but again, as I said many times, I don't personally like trading the New York reversal profile, simply from my experience. It's not the best session profile to trade, in my opinion. But yeah, New York reversal profile is pretty likely here. Why? Because we have been trading into the discount of this range into our H1 bullish PT arrays, and now we have the London highs here, and we have the Asian highs as well, and we have the previous day's high as well. So we have lots of buy side resting here. So now we want to see if we also could have a potential market maker buy model here, right? We have the original consolidation here, and we also then have the potential smart money reversal here, and we could aim now for the pre-London session highs here, and obviously the original consolidation highs. But again, it's no high probability setup, right? We always want to have a higher time frame level incorporated, and also we want to see a lower time frame stop run on counterparty liquidity. In this case, we don't have any of that, so we will just observe price. And also, once again, just because we know where price is most likely heading to, in which direction, doesn't mean that we also have a trade setup, right? So so we have an M5 SFP right here, right? A swing failure pattern, or also an M5 rate, depending on how you want to call it. So we got below the short-term low into this order block here, and now we got a bullish reaction, right? If we can close above this M5 value gap here, then we could say, okay, we might take a trade. So you could take a trade, but for me it's nothing I would take, again, for given reasons. But just to read the order flow here, to practice, we will see how price is reacting now to that value gap here, and then we want to see if price can use this level as an inversion level and then aim for the buy side here, right? So now we got here to close above this fair value gap, and you could potentially enter a trade here, right? You could use the top of the fair value gap, then it stops below this low here, and then for example here be 1.8 R trade, so that would be too low for me to take. But if you aim for the equal highs or the original consolidation highs, then it would be a 3.3 R trade. So you could take this one if you are a little bit more risk averse, but for me, again, not a setup I would take personally. So in this case we would not have gotten a fill, so this would be a no fill trade. For me it wouldn't be a trade anyway, so if you wanted to take that trade, you wouldn't have gotten a fill here. But yeah, we've now traded into Friday's highs, and for now we getting rejected. We did not manage to break above or hold above, right? We taking out the buy stops, and now we are it looks like we are reversing that move. So again we go on the H1 and we go again to the next day's London session, right? And remember, we are still trading in the range, and this line is the range equilibrium, so taking trades around this level is really low probability, right? So we have kind of like an H1 rate here in Asia, right? Taking out the buy stops, and then we got the move down, and London reversal profile here again. But you can see we keep ranging around this equilibrium. Also remember, from the economic calendar we have no news today, so no news combined with a ranging profile. You've guessed it right, is a low probability condition to trade in. So therefore this week, as I mentioned, we will take it really slow and wait what NFP is delivering, which price action, and how we close the week. So you can see 12.4 pip New York session, right? Almost no expansion, just consolidation profile, and we then also sell off after the New York session, and probably we are now going for the Monday lows again, right? We're still trading in the Monday range. You can see we had an inside day, right? We did not trade above the previous day's high or low, and for now it looks like we will go for the previous week's Monday lows first, and then we want to see how we are reacting here, right? If we can get a bullish reaction after the sweep of this low, we might can look for upside. If we fail to get any bullishness below this low, we probably go for the previous week's low one more time. So again, Asia session. Now we've taken out Monday's low ahead of London session, so it also happened below London Open, which is again something I don't like to see. So even if we get now a shift in order flow here, as we got here, right, we closed above this up close candle, we got kind of like a market structure shift here as well. I would not long here, simply because we have the lows here being created ahead of London session, right? And there you can see we have taken out this short-term high here, and then we got an immediate sell-off, taking out the pre-London session lows here. So also this level aligns with the, as you can see, the line here, the middle of the range. So we keep consolidating here, and in weeks like this one, you really have to stay patient with your setups and not trying to give back any profits to the market by being impatient, right? So also, if you see that the London session is taking out both the Asia high and low within a higher time frame ranging profile, then this often is an indication of a seek and destroy daily profile, and therefore you then can say, okay, I won't trade anymore on this day because I expect then the New York session to be a continuation of the seek and destroy profile. And yep, as you can see, we take out buy side of the lunch highs, then we take out the lunch lows, and you can see there's not really any clear directional order flow. Now, as you can see, we trade below the low. We failed to get any bullishness here, right? At this point, we probably will go for the previous week's low, and then we will see if NFP is able to reverse this entire move and take out all of the buy stops of the Monday highs, Tuesday highs, and Wednesday highs as well. And as you can see, during Asia we are taking out the previous week's low, and we are now also trading again in the inversion weekly fair value gap, right? And again, we don't want to see daily close, ideally below or even inside of this level. We want to see quick bullish reaction from that level, and then want to see a bullish expansion and a bullish shift in order flow in the lower time frames, right? So for Thursday, again, we are not trading because we are having NFP on Friday, so therefore Thursday is most likely a low probability daily profile, so we will just wait and observe what Thursday is doing. So you can see, again, we have no London manipulation. We have been taking out the previous week's low here. So again, something I don't really like to see. So London session, and then New York reversing the entire move again. And now we have also equal lows here, right? If we check if we have an SMT here with DXY, so we again take a look at the DXY dollar index, and let's see if we have a potential SMT here, right? So we use again the bar chart, so style line bars or candles, sorry. So we compare the lows of euro with the highs of DXY, right? And we can see that we, let's go to H1. So we make here a higher high on DXY, right? We take out this high here, and then if we take a look on euro, we fail to take it out, right? So we have a potential SMT here, right? So again, the SMT is only confirmed once we get a shift in order flow as well. So at this point, if we see some bullishness here and get a shift in order flow on the M15 maybe, we could then say, okay, we have now an SMT here at a higher time frame key level, and we have a lower time frame shift in order flow, and we have all the buy side resting here, right? So we also have a reasonable price to go higher to take out Monday high, right? So potentially NFP on Friday could send prices higher here, right, and take out all of the buy side of all of those highs here, right? So for now we are able to hold above this level here, and now we have NFP coming up on during the New York session at 8:30 New York time, right? So we don't trade in London, we trade only after the NFP figures have been released, or we can use an H1 entry maybe and take a swing trade. So yeah, we now have the London New York session open here, and again we could think here of the open high low close concept, right? So we open up, make the low, and then we create a high, right? So on the H1 you can see we closed above this bearish order block here, right? We got above, so we have H1 shift and order flow, you could say here, and we also have SMT here. So on the H4, let's see if we can see anything interesting there. And we potentially, yes, we have this old H4 fair value gap, right? We closed above, and now we want to see this being used as support here, right? So back to the M15, and we can see now we have the H4 fair value gap here. We closed above, and now we want to see this level to hold. And as you can see here, we now have the short-term low here. We have this M15 fair value gap here. So we have news at 8:30 in a few minutes. So for me personally, let's check if we have maybe another SMT here with those equal or not equal or almost equal lows here. So there's the DXY again. So candles. So again we compare the highs with the lows. So Euro made a higher low here, and DXY also made a lower high here. So in this case we have no SMT here, right? The normal market symmetry is given, and there's no divergence between DXY and Euro in this case. So in my opinion, I would take a long here on the higher time frames as a swing trade, right? Why? Because again we have all the buy side here. We've taken out previous week's low. We have Monday highs here. We have the week before the highs here. We have those highs here. So for me, there's not really a reason for price to go lower here on NFP. And we also have the SMT at our higher attention Q level, and then got a shift in order flow. Got an H4 PUI here as a shift in order flow, and we could potentially have here now the first stage of a new higher time frame market maker buy model, right? So this could be like the smart money reversal here, and then this could be the sell curve, and now we could see the start of the buy curve here. So as we have not taken any trades this week, I would take a swing trade here, and I would place my entry right below the swing low here, right? So we would have been filled here, and then I would put my stop below the H4 inversion level here, right? So let's put it here that we have a 25 pip stop, right? So we use a wide stop, and that's one way to trade NFP, right? We trade or base our executions on the higher time frames, and this way we don't get chopped up in the lower time frames. So entry here at the H1 breaker combined with the M15 fair value gap and a short-term run of stops, and then stop below the H4 fair value gap, the inversion fair value gap, right? And then our first TP would be Monday highs, right? Or even those highs here for 2-hour trade. And then the next TPs would be above those highs and eventually this high here, right? So this would be the NFP setup for this week, the only trade according to the protocol. And there we have now NFP coming up in the next candle. So we trade down one more time into this inversion level here, right? You can see the top of the inversion H4 fair value gap, and there we have NFP coming out. So let's go on the M5 maybe to see what do we have here. So you can see we have the classical AMD accumulation, manipulation, distribution now, and now we have this M5 fair value gap here, which ideally should not close below here, so this fair value gap should send price higher here, right? So if we get a close below here, we probably will go lower for the sell side here, and I will cut my trade at break even again. But as long as we accumulate here and ideally don't close in the lower half or below here, right? I will keep my bullish bias for this news event. So you can see we are holding this level here, and now we see the expansion to the upside, and we are now also trading back again in our reclaimed bearish order block on the daily, right? So we have that level here, and now we want to see if price is being able to close above the mean threshold, or are we getting rejected again, right? So we want to wait for the weekly close here, which is coming up soon in a few hours. And there we have the weekly close, right? And you can see we closing inside of the bearish order block is a good sign for bullishness, right? We did not manage to close above yet, right? We traded into the mean threshold and then got the consolidation here now, but the fact that we did not get rejected here and kept consolidating here is actually a good sign for bullishness going into next week. So yeah, this week was really a slow one. We really had to stay patient. There was not really much on the lower time frames. You can see we a lot of back and forth and inside of this range, traded back down again into this weekly inversion level, taking out the previous week's low, and then you can see that's why we don't trade the day ahead of NFP, because you can literally see that there's not really anything clean. And then we have NFP coming up, and then we could nail one swing trade here, right? On the based on an H4 entry or M15 lower time frame entry, but based on an H4 idea, right? So next week the bias is being bullish, right? So we expect NFP to set the stage here for higher prices in the following days, and we then next week want to see if we can frame any setups aiming for the buy side of those equal highs, and then also into this volume imbalance here, the 111.8 levels. So that will be the plan for the next episode.